Welcome to PetesGuide. This is Metric Monday. In today's episode of finding the ideal drill bit for installing M6 fasteners, I'm looking at 3 different sizes of brad point T-nuts. All 3 of these are M6 brad point T-nuts. And as you can see, they have different diameters of hopefully not everything, but at least the outer diameter of the flange. And there's a little bit of foreshadowing in the order here. So let's start with this one, and we'll see which size drill bit I need. Okay, 7.5. We have a winner here. And 7.5 is a T-nut, a regular T-nut. So that's cool because I can use the same size drill bit for the, not the flange, but the post. And then we have this one. So let's try this. That does not seat flush. Look at that. That does not seat flush. So let's go up to 8.0. That's better. But we have 2 sizes. So that's the Chicago screw. So these 2 fasteners use the same drill bit. And then visually you can tell that's that dog don't hunt here. Let's try 9.0 for grins. That didn't work, so we have to switch to our larger gauge. Let's try 9.5, 10, 10.5, 11, 11.5, 12. Finally, we have a winner at 12. And we have one of my 2 candidate sizes for jack nuts. So this is the first time in a while that I haven't had to add another drill bit size to my kit. And so I'm going to need to add labels to my templates so I can keep track of which drill bit sizes work. But we're not really done here. We're done for today's video research, but there are a couple things that we haven't figured out here. So the first problem is if I want to countersink these, I need a countersink bit for the flange diameter. And the second problem is that these are actually 2 different types, 3 different sizes, 2 different types of brad point M6 T-nuts. These, I believe, are both meant to be used with nails, probably brad point nails from the name, because the holes are not chamfered. On this one, however, aside from it being much thicker, the holes are chamfered to fit the flathead wood screws that came with it, and that way they sit flush. But I don't know if these screws are metric. I'm not equipped yet to measure metric wood screws or inch wood screws. So I can't tell you if this vendor is mixing units between inches and metric. That would be unfortunate, but that's going to be an interesting video in the future because we're definitely going to cover metric wood screws. I already know a few properties of metric wood screws that have me fairly frustrated. And that leaves one more bit. Because of the way these are constructed, I'm sure this is cast. These are probably punched out of sheet metal. Maybe not, but probably. Or out of metal tubing. That would be interesting. Looking for signs. Yeah, this actually might be made from sheet metal and then rolled and welded. I don't see any obvious signs from this. This is probably just punched out of sheet metal. But this is not a 90-degree bevel here. So these actually, to sit perfectly flush, need a countersink bit. And I'm kind of hoping I can find one bit that will do all three holes: the bore hole, the countersink, and the flange hole for counterboring these to make them sit flush. I doubt that exists, but one can dream. This is PetesGuide closing down.